All right, today we're diving into a country you probably feel like you know inside and out. But what if I told you there's a whole other side to it? A side that's not about the past, but about building our future in some really surprising ways. Yeah, exactly. When I say Italy, you're thinking Colosseum, right? Pasta, amazing fashion. Of course. But what if I told you that same country is, right now, figuring out how to make oxygen on the moon, or building the absolute core of the biggest telescope on Earth, and, get this, creating gene therapies that are straight out of science fiction? That's the Italy we're going to talk about today. So let's start big. I mean, really big. We're actually going off-planet to see how Italian ingenuity is taking on, the final frontier. So first up, we have something called Oracle. And no, it's not some mystical thing from ancient Greece. It's actually a pretty small box, about 50 centimeters on each side, built by the Italian Space Agency and OHB Italia. Its job? It's going to land on the moon and do something that sounds impossible. It's going to pull breathable oxygen right out of the moon dust, the regolith. I mean, this is an absolute game changer if we ever want to build a real base up there. So how does it work? Well, the process is basically this really clever multi-step chemical recipe. First, you basically cook the moon dust with carbon at incredibly high temperatures. We're talking 1100 degrees Celsius. That breaks the oxygen free. Then you cool things down a bit, react that gas with hydrogen, and boom, you've got water vapor. From there, it's simple chemistry, right? You just split the water to get your hydrogen back and, most importantly, pure breathable oxygen. It's amazing, a whole life support factory, packed into one little box. Okay, so from making the essentials to live on the moon, let's pivot to getting a clearer view of the universe from Earth. This is the M4 mirror. It was built by a company called Microgate, and it is the literal heart of the extremely large telescope down in Chile. You know how our atmosphere makes stars twinkle? Well, that twinkling blurs our view. This mirror's job is to fix that. And this is where you really see the incredible range we're talking about. Think about it. On one hand, you've got this tiny, compact life support box for the moon. And on the other, you have a massive 2.5-meter mirror, the largest of its kind ever made, that can actually change its shape thousands of times a second to give us a crystal clear view of space. From the micro to the macro, it's all about that same high-precision Italian engineering. All right, let's bring it back down to Earth, because that same innovative spirit isn't just for space, it's being used to tackle some of our biggest challenges right here at home. Things like sustainability and the whole digital transformation. Now this next one, this might actually surprise you. When you think about the AI revolution, who do you think is leading the charge in Europe? Well, it turns out it's Italy. A staggering 64% of professionals there are actively investing in learning AI skills. That's way ahead of the European average. And this isn't just talk, It shows a real, deep commitment to building a workforce that's ready for the future. And that commitment, it's backed by some seriously massive investment. I'm talking about the Puglia Data Center Valley. This project is just mind-blowing in scale. We're looking at a potential investment of up to 100 billion euros. The goal is to create a 2-gigawatt digital powerhouse. That's enough to make southern Italy a totally critical data hub for the entire Mediterranean region. Okay, how about this for an idea? A battery made of sand? I know, it sounds almost too simple, right? But this is a world first on an industrial scale, coming out of Salerno. The system is brilliant. It takes all that extra electricity from wind or solar and uses it to heat up a huge container of sand. And they use this technique called fluidization. They blow air through it, so the sand starts acting like a liquid. It just makes it incredibly good at soaking up all that heat. So why does this matter? Well, this is the crucial part. It solves one of the biggest problems with renewable energy. What do you do when the sun's shining but demand for electricity is low? With this, you just store all that extra energy as heat in super cheap, super abundant sand. Then, whenever a factory needs high-temperature steam, even in the middle of the night, they just tap into the hot sand. No need to burn natural gas. It is just such a smart, simple, and effective solution. And this innovation is also being used to protect our planet in some other really clever ways. This is Paravolin. It's an AI system that was developed at the Polytechnic University of Milan. And, well, you can think of it as an environmental watchdog in the sky. It pores over satellite images, using machine learning to hunt down illegal garbage dumps. And let me tell you, it is unbelievably good at its job.
Paravolin hits a 90% accuracy rate when it comes to finding these illegal sites. That's huge. It gives the authorities this powerful, data-driven tool to go after polluters and protect our environment. It's a perfect example of how AI can be a real force for good.
Okay, for our final section, we're going to turn inward. We've gone from outer space to planet Earth, and now we're going inside the human body itself. And this is where some of the most personal and honestly most profound scientific impacts are being made. Just listen to this quote. It's more than seeing again. It's like starting to live again. Those are the words of the very first person in the world to receive a revolutionary new gene therapy. He was blind. Now he can recognize faces. He can read subtitles on the TV from across the room. This isn't some small improvement. It's completely life-changing. So what's the science here? It's absolutely fascinating. See, the healthy gene they needed to deliver to fix his sight was just too big. It wouldn't fit inside a single delivery vehicle, which is a common problem in gene therapy. So the researchers at the Tigum Institute came up with this incredibly clever workaround. They literally split the gene in half, sent the two pieces in on separate carriers, and then engineered them to perfectly stitch themselves back together once they were inside the cells. Just a beautiful, elegant solution to a huge biological puzzle. And this incredible push into the genetic frontier doesn't stop there. It's also being applied to neurodegenerative diseases. There was this major collaboration between researchers in Turin and the U.S. National Institutes of Health. And together, they've developed a way to detect ALS, you might know it as Lou Gehrig's disease, way, way earlier than was ever possible before. And the results are just staggering. They use AI to look at over 3,000 different proteins in a single blood sample, and the model can identify patients with ALS with 98% accuracy. Let that sink in. 98% from a simple blood test. It's a monumental leap forward, no question. But here's the truly revolutionary part, and this timeline shows it perfectly. This test, it can spot the signs of ALS in the blood years before a person feels a single symptom. For a devastating disease like this, where the damage is irreversible, that is everything. It opens up this incredible window of opportunity to maybe, just maybe, intervene with treatments during that silent phase and stop the disease before it ever takes hold. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, from making air on the moon to storing sunlight in sand to literally rewriting our DNA to give someone back their sight, the story becomes pretty clear, right? Way beyond the art and the ancient history, there's this powerful engine of Italian innovation that's quietly working on solving some of the biggest problems we face.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? When a culture that's so famous for mastering the old world turns its full creative force toward the new one, well, the possibilities feel pretty limitless. The only question left is, what frontier will they tackle next?